So let's forget for a minute that image of an enlightened being just sitting quietly on a cloud. Today, we're diving into an ancient blueprint for a completely different kind of hero. Someone on an epic quest, not for treasure, not for a throne, but for the freedom of every single living being. This is the path of the Bodhisattva. So let me ask you this. If you wanted to get the power to end all suffering in the world, where would you even start? And that's not just some philosophical question. It's the very training manual we're going to unpack today, a journey of incredible self-transformation, all for the sake of everybody else. All right, first things first, who exactly is our hero? Well, a bodhisattva isn't some god. It's an individual, potentially any one of us, who makes this incredibly bold and compassionate choice. They decide to pursue full enlightenment, to become a Buddha for one reason and one reason only: to get the ultimate skill set to help everyone else break free from pain. Their own freedom? That's secondary. The freedom of all? That's the real goal. Okay, so this whole journey isn't just one giant leap. It's laid out in stages. And right after sparking that initial heroic motivation, the Bodhisattva steps into stage 2, the immaculate ground. And yeah, the name kind of gives it away. This is all about building an absolutely flawless, pure foundation for everything that's coming next. And I want you to really notice the priority here, because it's kind of counterintuitive, right? The first big step to becoming this cosmic hero isn't learning to fly or read minds. It's about becoming impeccably, perfectly ethical. The logic is so simple, but so profound. I mean, if your own actions are causing harm, how on earth can you help anyone else? You have to clean the vessel before you can fill it with the nectar of wisdom. Simple as that. So how do you actually clean the vessel? Well, it's all about mastering what they call the 10 wholesome actions. And it starts by just completely dropping their opposites. As you can see here, it's a super practical path. Instead of causing harm, you actively cherish life. Instead of taking what's not yours, you practice radical generosity. Instead of lying, you commit to the truth. And these aren't just, nice suggestions. For the Bodhisattva, these are the fundamental rules of the road. Non-negotiable. And this table here perfectly illustrates the principle behind it all: karma, the law of cause and effect. And the original texts are incredibly specific about this. They basically say our actions lead to predictable results. Think about it. If you steal, you end up experiencing poverty. If you lie, you'll find that other people are always deceiving you. If you walk around with ill will, you'll find people are always nitpicking your faults. It's not presented as some kind of cosmic punishment, but more like a law of nature, just like gravity. And this is the absolute key point. The Bodhisattva isn't just following rules because they're scared of a bad outcome. Their motivation is way deeper. It's rooted in wisdom. They see with crystal clarity that these unwholesome actions are the very seeds of the suffering they've promised to end. So they abandon them, not out of fear, but out of a powerful, intelligent compassion. So once that perfect, immaculate foundation is set and rock solid, our hero is ready to move to the third ground, which is called the luminous. And, you guessed it, the name says it all. This is where they finally ignite the fire of profound wisdom. Think of it this way. Having a stable, ethical mind is like having a perfectly still, clear lake. It's only then, when the water's calm, that you can gaze into its depths and see what's really down there. And this stage is the Bodhisattva's ordeal: to turn their attention both inward and outward, and to investigate the fundamental nature of existence itself. And to give you a sense of just how intense this quest for knowledge is, get this. The text says, a bodhisattva would literally think to themselves, I would jump from the highest heaven into a great universe filled with fire, just to hear one single line of truth. I mean, wow. This isn't just a casual interest. It's an all-consuming, heroic thirst for the kind of wisdom that can actually set beings free. And of course, there's a method to the madness. It's not just like, poof, you have insight. No, it's a clear process. First, you have to hear the teachings. Then, and this is crucial, you don't just accept them blindly. You contemplate them, you analyze them, you really make them your own. This leads to a deep meditative stability, a mind that is just unshakable. And it's from that place of stability that true, unobstructed wisdom finally begins to dawn. So what's the big reveal? What does this incredible wisdom show them? It's this deep, penetrating insight that everything we experience, every thought, every feeling, every object, every situation, is in a constant state of flux. It's all impermanent, like a dream or an illusion. And because it's always shifting and changing, it can never give us that stable, lasting happiness we're all so desperately looking for. Okay, now this is where things get really wild. A natural side effect of this deep meditative insight is the development of what we would probably call superpowers. Knowing the minds of others, seeing past and future lives, hearing any sound anywhere, even walking through mountains or touching the sun and moon. I mean, it sounds like something out of a comic book. But the text is very clear. These abilities are not the goal. They just arise naturally from a mind that has mastered itself and sees reality for what it truly is. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. After all this intense training, this purification, this development of these absolutely astonishing powers, what is it all for? Why does it even matter? You have to ask, right? I mean, with abilities like these, you could have anything you want. You could be a king, a god, whatever. Is that the end game here? Is it all just to achieve personal power and glory? The answer is a huge, resounding no. The Bodhisattva's motivation is still perfectly pure, and it's reaffirmed at every single stage. This is their constant thought. These beings are suffering. I have to rescue them. I will be their refuge. I will lead them to final liberation. Every ounce of effort, every single insight they've gained is dedicated to that one purpose. And that right there is the heart of this entire journey. The superpowers, the wisdom, the purity, they aren't the prize. They're the tools. They are the perfect, most effective tools imaginable, forged in the fires of discipline and insight to be used for one thing: boundless compassion. The goal was never just to escape the fire, but to become the ultimate firefighter for everyone else. So, when you step back and look at it, what we have here is this incredible, thousands of years old roadmap for heroism. It perfectly balances that deep inner work with a selfless outer purpose. It argues that the greatest strength we can have actually comes from the greatest compassion. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? In a world with no shortage of challenges, how might this ancient model of a compassionate hero inspire the way we choose to live our own lives?